So, this morning I had just sat down for my breakfast of frosted mini wheats and got a notification that I had received a package, so I thought I'd do an unboxing video. If you've been following Graders and Cutlery, and if you see this KnivesShipFree logo underneath, and if you saw the materials on the Northwoods run, most recent run, you probably know what the unboxing is going to be, especially considering this unusual intro here. But as always, check out my social media at Knife Thoughts on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, and such, and my website at knifethoughts.com. But here's the package, and you can see that it is from Bone Distributing, which is KnivesShipFree. So without too much ado here, let's open the package and see what's inside. And I'm using my Case Shepherd Hills Cutlery exclusive Burlap. So we have a knife and a packing slip and a sticker. So as you can see, this is from KnivesShipFree, and it is the newest run from Northwoods, the brand that KnivesShipFree owns, and has special factory orders done from Graders and Cutlery. Previously in the past, they have done some from Queen, but all of them recently have been from Graders and Cutlery. And this one is called the Heritage Jack, and it's in FMW Burlap Micarta. And that stands, as you probably guessed from the intro, for frosted mini wheat. And you'll see why here in just a second, but let's open it up. This is one that I decided to get for a couple reasons. First off here, the Heritage Jack is on the 86 frame. And the 86 is a knife that when I first saw, I didn't think I was going to get one. It's looked like a larger version of the 77 that they did last year with the clip and long, slender sheepfoot secondary, and just a bigger version of that. So I didn't think I was going to get one, but I ended up getting a couple of them. So keep an eye out, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel here and hit the bell for notifications, because I will be posting a video with all of my 86s and hopefully an article at, again, knifethoughts.com. But this knife is on the 86 frame. And I decided to get it because I have gotten more of the 86s than I planned. I planned to get none, and I've really enjoyed the 86 frame. It's a jumbo jack frame. So this is the Heritage Jack, and let's get it out of this free slip that comes with the knife. Kind of a little bit tough to get out. And there we have it. Now you can see pretty quickly why it's called frosted mini wheat micarta. It kind of has that cross-hatched with the white epoxy rather than a clear or colored epoxy that it would typically have. And this is a single blade, unlike the vast majority of the 86 knives, and unlike all of them, it's a spear point. So this is kind of a almost towards a Zulu spear point. As you can see, Northwoods tends to have slightly different and slightly less traditional takes on the traditional blade shapes, like their Warncliffs, which are sometimes a little bit different than the traditional ones that GEC does. And this spear point, not that lots of spear points in the past haven't been shaped like this, just I guess not exactly the way Graders and Cutlery does their normal run spear points. So it is on this jumbo jack frame, so it's not a small knife. I'll compare it first to a couple other knives and then to another 86. But let's get that Case Barlow back out. And you can see that this Heritage Jack, or 86, is a good bit bigger, maybe a little over ½ an inch longer in the handle, and a good bit longer in the blade. Actually more than, I'd say like an inch at least longer in the blade. So a good bit bigger than that. Comparing it to a Graders and Cutlery, Here's the 15 pattern. A lot of people are familiar with the 15, and you can see that this Heritage Jack or 86 is, again, a good bit bigger. Not quite as much bigger than as the Case Barlow, but a good bit bigger. And you can see it is, thicker. I'm going to show you another example of this jumbo jack. One of the hallmarks of a jumbo jack I've found since doing research on them is that they are more rounded than most traditional slip joints. A lot of traditional slip joints are pretty flat, and the jumbo jacks are more rounded, giving them a heftier feel, a little bit heavier, and a better grip in the hand. But let's compare this also to, let's see, a Gradation Cutlery Bullnose 71. Again, I think it has a longer blade, but the handle is actually shorter, so pretty interesting there. Seems like they pack a lot of blade into this thing. Here's a Case Sodbuster Jr. and then a Case Trapper. Trapper is going to be longer, but not too much thicker, as you can see, even though the Case is a 2-blade. You can see that this Heritage Jack has a pretty thick blade the whole way up, which fits with a jumbo jack. And then let's give a couple comparisons to modern knives. Here is a Benchmade full-size Griptilian. Here is an Ontario Rat 1, the larger rat. Here is a Spyderco Endura. And then the only one of these that I have, I do tend to prefer larger modern knives. A Spyderco Native 5, which is a little smaller in the blade at least, again, but a little bigger in the handle than the Heritage Jack. So there's a couple comparisons, and a couple things I want to point out about this knife, other than, of course, the handle material here, which I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I was more sure that I would like the red saw cut bone that they were doing on this run, but it's just so unique. I've actually never seen another micarta with white epoxy. You see different colors like blue and, the same color as the, burlap and natural, which is kind of clearish, and, even glow and things like that. But I've never seen white before. And Jay Rauch, I hope I pronounced his last name correctly, I think so, Rauch, of KnivesShipFree, who designs these Northwoods knives, said he had this micarta made specifically for these, and I think it's really cool. I wasn't 100% sure that I would like it, because I honestly haven't really loved the burlap that Northwoods knives have had in the past, because it has been so thick. It's very different than the linen or even canvas micarta that I'm used to on Gradation Cutlery knives and other fixed blades and things like that. And in the past, when I have gotten it, it's had some voids. Now that's natural with these type of that's to be expected with these types of handle materials. This one, as you can see, I am seeing it has a little bit on the back here, but less than the ones that I was, unhappy with in the past. So I think it's a really, really cool handle material. It feels nice. Feels like it has a little bit of grip, and it's just really interesting. And if you watch my channel, you know that I really enjoy unique and quirky handle materials. So I wanted to try this out, and I'm happy that I did here to get a look at it. Now another thing is that I'm not sure anyone else has mentioned, I think Jay posted a picture of it. I don't know if he said that they were new, but I'm pretty sure that this is a new design for their shield. The Northwood shields of the past were more rounded at the point. It's an arrow. And I think that the shields in the past were more rounded at the point and slightly less long. And I actually do think that this looks a little bit nicer, a little bit more like an arrow. So I think that was a good move, and maybe someone will tell me, or Jay will say that I'm wrong and this is the same it's always been. But I really, really feel, I don't have another Northwoods out right now to compare it to, but I really feel that this is a new design for their shield. So I like it. I like that change. Now, as for the quality, I didn't really look too closely yet at this knife. Let me look real quick. There's the ever slightest gap there. You might be able to slightly see it, but I think that even might go away with cleaning. It's a very slight gap. No blade play. You can see it has the stamped Northwoods on the blade with the long pull USA on one side and nothing on the other side, with a kind of brute deforge, but slightly less brute deforge than in the, a few years ago in the past, I think. It almost looks stone washed, which is an interesting look. I like it, actually. But no blade play. Some people have recently said that the Northwoods knives didn't have nice snap, or some of the recent runs. This, as you can see, has really nice snap. I'd say it's a 6, maybe even towards a 7. 6.5. And really nice snap. I mean, you can see it snapping to half stop there and snapping closed. Has an interesting sound on snap closed. I think it's because the blade is so thick. Again, look how thick that blade is, especially compared to, another, well, let's compare it to an 86. I said I was going to do that. So pretty much all of the other 86s were in a 2-blade configuration with a clip point and a clip point and a slender sheep foot secondary. And this is a smooth white bone, a short run. But let's compare the difference here in thickness of the blade. So noticeable difference, especially in the distal taper. So the taper getting thinner from the handle towards the tip. There's very little distal taper on this, and I think it's purposeful. It's to go with this jumbo jack aesthetic and plan of use or whatever. And it's interesting, and it does look like some of the vintage jumbo jacks that I've seen that did have a really thick spine all the way to the point. So that's interesting. Now, comparing the thickness of the handle, you can see that the 2-blade is a little thicker. But let's take a look. There is, like I said, one single blade 86 that was an SFO for Lone Star Knives. Only 50 of these, made as an add-on to Lone Star Knives, run by a person named Percy Richardson, and he runs a museum on the battleships, U.S. battleships, and gets knives made with handles from wood from U.S. battleships and steel, Damascus steel, pattern welded steel made from the ships. Those are really expensive. This is he said he does white bone add-ons to those runs, and this one was a lot less expensive. But anyway, this is the only single blade production 86. Let's take a look at the difference in thickness here. So I think, let's see how close I can get this here. I think that the Northwoods is slightly, it's hard to hold these still. I think that the Northwoods is slightly thinner, maybe about the same. So these are very similar. The Northwoods still does have that, jumbo jack thickness to it, and I like it. Now, one thing I noticed in pictures, and I'm noticing now, is that this tip definitely sits closer to proud than I prefer. It is like as close as can be to being proud without, and I mean, I don't know, that's for you to decide whether that tip is above the liners. I guess, I mean, it is at the edge. So I really like this knife. I hate to have to drop the kick on a knife to keep it and use it, but I don't know, that's something I'll have to think about more rather than in an unboxing and overview video here like this. But it definitely, as you can see, sits pretty close to proud. And one thing I'm noticing is that because this blade is so thick all the way out here to this point, as you can see, it's pretty much, there's no gaps really at all between the liners and the blade itself all the way out to about here. So I'm not exactly sure how dropping the kick would go. But again, that's something for not, deciding in a video like this. Overall, I think it's a really cool knife. I really like this handle material. I do enjoy these unique handle materials, and I think it's great that Jay is willing to go out on a limb with these like this. I do like, for the aesthetic of the jumbo jack, that it stays thick towards the tip like that. I like the look of the kind of rough finish on this knife being a jumbo jack. And I like this spear point, honestly, too. I think that this would make for a really good general use spear point. So really well made knife, nice snap, no blade play, centered obviously, it really can't not be centered, I don't think. New shield, which I do like better, I think. I'm gonna ask Jay and make sure, but I'm 95% sure that that's a new shield. And the satin finish also on this bolster, these bolsters, looks good with the rest of the knife. So another, well-made knife from Northwoods. It looks like these ones come with a new sticker and with the same brass coin or copper, one of the two, copper, I guess. And overall, just a really cool knife, one that I'm glad to have gotten. They are tough to get sometimes, but I think Jay and everyone at KnivesShipFree does the best they can to, make them available. They, have been making larger orders with GEC, and they are shipped quickly. That's one thing. This knife, the tracking said that it was going to get here on Tuesday. Today is Saturday, and it got here today. So, the drop was on Wednesday, and it's here on Saturday. So they definitely put the work in to get these into people's hands, and I appreciate that. So thank you for checking out this video. I hope it's helpful in giving you a look at this knife. And don't forget, once again, to check out my social media, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit at Knife Thoughts, as well as my website, where I'll be posting an article on all these 86 frame knives at knifethoughts.com. And please subscribe to my channel. I'm getting close to 1,000 right now, or within sight of 1,000, so that's pretty exciting. And don't forget to hit the bell for updates. And as always, don't forget also to go out and do good.